Hey, what's up guys? Today I want to share with you the build I've been running in PvP and having the most success with. PvP is my main priority in Diablo 4 and I take the build I play seriously as we're now competing against other players and not just mobs in a dungeon. I'm still improving this build every day, but I think it's in a good spot right now to share with you guys so you can start collecting all the gear and enjoying PvP yourselves. I'll have a link to the build planner in the description below and do my best to keep it updated, but the best way to see the most updated build is to stop by my Twitch stream. With that out of the way, let's show you what we're working with. Alright guys, we're going to do a quick overview of the skills and then jump back and kind of dive into individual key parts of the skills and why they're important for PvP. We have Puncture into Fundamental Puncture, Twisting Blades into Improved Twisting Blades, Siphoning Strikes as always, Stutter Set for movement speed. We're taking the stun on our Shadow Step, Weapon Mastery, very important damage passive, 2 points for our trick attacks, 1 point in dash just to get around. We're picking up Concealment and the countering Stealth, Exploit and Malice. We are picking up Agile as well, Poison Imbuement into Blended Poison Imbuement. We're picking up our Debilitating Toxins here. We're still running our Innovation for some energy, Haste for speed, and Momentum. Alright guys, now for a little bit deeper dive into our skill tree. Starting with Puncture, we are running combo points, so Puncture is going to see a lot more use. With Fundamental Puncture, it's going to be the main way that we apply Vulnerable after our Exploit glyph wears off. This is going to be the only way that we can keep our Vulnerable up and keep it applied. It's not going to be a big issue because we are running combo points and we need to be using this anyway. The slow is also very useful in PvP. If you try to shadow step somebody while they're moving, you're just going to teleport behind them and the stun's not going to hit them. That happens most of the time, even with like average movement speed. So getting this slow on them seems to make it much more consistent that you'll be able to land the shadow step if they're still trying to move somewhere. Next few key points are Improved Twisting Blades and Trick Attacks. Improved Twisting Blades is going to get a daze on the target, and Trick Attacks is going to take that daze, and when you crit that target, it's going to knock them down. The reason that we also pick up Trick Attacks is because a daze in PvP still lets them move. Trick Attacks knocking them down keeps them from moving anywhere, so you can do more damage. For PvP, you're going to want as many unstoppable abilities as you can realistically fit in your build. We're going to pick up Shadow Step, and we're also going to run the double charges on our boots. We're also running Concealment and countering Stealth. Concealment can be used one of two ways. You can stealth up to the target and guarantee a massive opener with a guaranteed critical strike, or you can save it for a mid-fight getaway because it is unstoppable, so as you're getting crowd controlled and things go south, you just pop it and slip away. We are running Poison Imbuement for this build. We have 4 extra points on our helmet. The Poison Imbuement itself does insane damage in PvP because there is a 20% damage over time bonus in the PvP zone. And while the target is poisoned, they're going to deal reduced damage to us. So this is high value, insane damage. It's very nice. All right, so let's go over the armor piece by piece. Starting with the helmet, we're picking up the Aspect of Might. And what we want on here, the priority is we need the percent armor, we need the percent life, we need the poison imbuement. After that, you're looking for cooldown. That would be the best in slot. I still haven't found the perfect helmet yet, but armor is probably the most important part, and you need that on 4 different pieces. We'll go over which pieces as we go through this, but the reason you need this armor is because we are not running Disobedience in PvP, because you have to stack Disobedience, and that's hard to keep up in PvP. If that drops off, your armor goes down, you take insane amount of damage, and you just die. So we hit the armor cap, which is somewhere around 9,200. I am 1% off. You want that 84% to say 85%, so I'm almost there. I'll fix that with my gear a little bit later, but we're reaching the armor cap for PvP just through our gear and our Paragon. For our chest armor, we're picking up the Exploiter's Aspect, dealing increased damage to unstoppable enemies. This is really good against barbarians and druids because they have very high uptime on unstoppable. For the rolls that we want, we're picking up our percent armor, damage reduction from close, I'm trying to roll this damage reduction from health. It's not cooperating. And then we want damage reduction from poisoned. The gloves are pretty easy. We're running the eluding aspect. I'm looking to change this to the aspect of synergy, but for now, this pops me out of crowd control when I'm injured and lets me be unstoppable for 4 seconds. But the aspect of synergy will allow me to reduce the cooldown on my concealment. So I'm going to give that a try when I get it. For the rolls that we want crit chance, ranks to twisting blades, attack speed. The fourth one is kind of whatever you want. There's a lot of good options. For our pants, we're using the aspect of the protector. The way I got my aspect to be this high is because I used it from the codex. The codex scales with your character's level. So at level 100, the codex for this aspect will be 8954. So use this aspect from the codex, not from an extracted legendary. For the rolls, we want while injured, your potion grants a 30% maximum life as barrier. That has to be on these pants. It's very strong. So when you're about to die and you can slip away, get a potion, your potion's double the value. We want dodge chance against close. We want damage reduction from close, ideally. Mine has damage reduction from poison, that's second best. We want maximum life, and we want armor. The boots are also pretty easy. We're running the double shadow step charges, and the rolls that we're looking for are multiple evade charges. That's stronger than any of the other ones, allowing you to move around a lot better. We want movement speed and dodge chance. After that, energy reduction is really nice. And then movement speed after killing elite's nice. Damage while injured is nice. There's a few different rolls here. Ranks of dash is also pretty nice because that reduces the cooldown. But movement speed and dodge chance are your first two that you're looking for. The crossbow doesn't change too much from a standard build. We're going to still put the twisting blades aspect on here. You're going to be looking for the vulnerable roll, the core skill damage, the dexterity, the damage to close, all the normal stuff. The crit damage, however, could go somewhere because the word on the street is crit damage in PvP is capped at 150%. I don't know all the testing behind it, if that's true, and then if it is true, is that all crit damage or is that just the crit damage that shows up here? For instance, the combat glyph is crit damage with core skills. That does not show up here. Does that go around that? Whether or not it's true or not, I'm not going too far either way. This doesn't put me too far over the cap, and if I take it off, it's going to put me way under. So I'm just going to leave that as is for now, but just keep that in mind. Moving on to our amulet, we're going to use the momentum key passive heals you for 403 life per second per stack. So I'm healing for 1209 life per second if my momentum stacked. That's insane life regen in PvP. We're going to run cooldown, damage reduction from close, weapon mastery, total armor. We need that total armor roll like I was talking about earlier. This is one of the areas that you get it. Weapon mastery is best in slot. You need those 3 ranks. It's huge damage increase. Damage reduction from close, I think, has high value to make you tanky. Cooldown's really nice. If you want to be greedy and go for more damage, I'd be looking for like 3 ranks of exploit would be really greedy instead of the damage reduction from close. You can go with movement speed instead, just to feel a little bit faster. There's a little bit of options there, but you need the armor, you need the ranks of weapon mastery, and then you put the momentum passive on there. For our first ring, we're going to run imbuement skills have increased potency. This is going to make our poison imbuement do much more damage, and poison imbuement on our openers does insane damage. We're going to want vulnerable damage, crit strike chance, health, and then crit damage to keep you above the cap that we were talking about earlier. And if you're above the cap and you can fit it in, you want core skill damage or damage to close or really any of the other damage. For the second ring, we're going to run the energizing aspect to sustain our energy, and then the rolls on the ring are going to be the same as the first. For our first weapon, we're going to be running condemnation. Running combo points, you're going to usually be throwing this on there. This is very big burst damage, so you start the fight with 3 combo points, you poison imbue up, you hit him with that. The poison imbue is insane, the first twisting blades is insane. It's just really big burst damage. For our second weapon, we're running daggers. It has to be a dagger for 3 reasons. They attack faster, it feels better. No crit damage guaranteed like a sword does. We talked about the crit damage cap. And for weapon mastery, the passive that we're stacking 3 points on our neck, so we have 6 out of 3, gives us 30% increased damage to healthy targets per dagger. So we have 2 daggers. That means we have 60% increased damage to healthy enemies, making our opener with our poison imbuement massive. The aspect that we're running is the accelerating aspect for attack speed. The rolls that we want: damage to close, vulnerable, dexterity. I don't actually mind the all stats. It helps me hit a few breakpoints in my Paragon tree, but other than that, you just want other damage rolls. For the gems you want to be running: topaz in your armor, skulls in your jewelry, and amethyst in your weapons to increase your poison damage. I'm just going to scroll through the Paragon if you want to rewatch this. Otherwise, the build planner is in the description below. It's got the Paragon, it's got everything. Feel free to go check it out. Now I'm going to go over a few openers that you can run, starting with the sneaky opener. You're going to build your 3 combo points on anything that you can find. You're going to find your target, concealment, poison imbuement, run up to them, and twisting blades them. The reason you twisting blades and you don't shadow step for a few reasons. First, it's more damage because we're running the tricks of the trade in our Paragon board. So we already built our combo points. We used a marksman skill. Now we're going to use a cutthroat skill. If you shadow step, it's going to burn that. We want the 25% increased damage to be on our twisting blades. That's poison imbued up for a huge opener. The next reason is if you're using the sneaky opener, you're at a disadvantage because you already burned one of your 3 unstoppables. So you can't get out of crowd control with it. If you burn your shadow step 2, now you only have 1 left. Now you're at a massive disadvantage, and if anybody knows what they're doing, you're probably going to lose the fight. Opener number 2 is the instant or the quick opener. We're going to build our 3 combo points. We're going to open on them with shadow step. Now it's important that if you choose this opener, that they are not moving or they're moving very slowly, and you're trying to just catch them off guard and stun them. If they're moving too quickly in a straight line, you're going to shadow step behind them and the stun's going to miss. That's just how it works in PvP. So don't use this opener if they're moving, but you shadow step behind them, and then you can go one of 2 ways. You can puncture 1 time to get that 25% increased damage from tricks of the trade, or if you think that they're just going to slip away the second you shadow step behind them, if they're a good player, you need to just dump your twisting blades back into them, and you don't have time for that, and you just burn all your damage and go from there. Now, opener number 3 is the high value opener. The main reason that you want to run this is because you don't burn your shadow step or your concealment. It's really nice. All you're going to do is open with puncture, build your combo points, get the slow on them, walk up with a poison imbued twisting blades, hit that, and then just build another 3, hit another triple combo point twisting blades, and because you saved your unstoppables, you can counter react to whatever they do and just, get out of their crowd control and brawl with them. This works especially well against rogues because the first one to shadow step to them or open with one of your unstoppables is at a disadvantage because if you open on him with a shadow step, he's stunned. Great. He's going to shadow step on you now, stun you. You're going to shadow step on him and stun him. Then he's going to shadow step on you and stun you. You're both out of shadow steps, but now you're stuck in a stun. You're going to concealment and either run away like a smart person, or you're going to burn it and try to do damage. Now you're dead because he's going to concealment out of anything that you're going to do, and it's just a losing battle for you because you burned yours first. Against like a barbarian, this might not work that well because Hoda Barbs are especially overpowered right now. They're borderline broken. I believe there's some kind of a bug. They're one-shotting everybody. You're not going to be able to just walk up to them and do this to them. So you're probably going to have to use one of the other openers, but you got to feel it out. This is going to be the highest value if you think the target's not really expecting it, and you can just, walk up to them without burning your cooldowns and just start doing damage. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to see more in the future. I do plan on doing a more in-depth tips and tricks video. Until then, stop by my live stream. Feel free to ask any questions. You might learn something. But that's the end of the video. Catch you guys next time.